Good evening. Hi, Agato, Jim Terry B. Yes, Agato, the family looked so much more at peace today than I've seen them. I remember one hearing where Candace came out and she was practically in tears going, he's going to die before he ever comes to trial, which I think was one of the reasons that the family did go for the deal. So give a few more minutes for people to come on, but I just wanted to go over my notes from the hearing now that I'm not in a noisy Walmart using their Wi-Fi. Candace, Justin, the grandparents, and I'd say 14 other 14 people in total sitting in the section reserved for the family. I didn't see anybody really young, so I don't think any siblings were there. Sorry about the chirping smoke detector. I need to get a ladder and change it now that I've got a battery. East Idaho News was there and filmed, and there was a reporter from the Fox 13 here in Salt Lake. And there were 4 deputies present. After seeing that guy attack the judge in Nevada recently, I want to be careful. I don't think Brenner has got that kind of strength and agility, though. So let's see. Let's see. Most of this is in the thing, but we'll go over the maybe stopping at various points in the hearing and going over. I'm not sure who she was. She was sitting directly in front of me in the hearing, and I don't think I've seen her before. Hello, Cluckers. So yeah, she was one of the family. They did bring the family in through a door I've never seen used before, so that the family could avoid media or anybody, and that was something that was interesting because it's never happened before. So let's get started with the video. And somebody did ask me, was he limping? And I couldn't see because I was looking at my notes at the time writing, so I didn't actually see him enter, but he is. Let's see. There was one thing just slipped my mind. It'll probably come back to me in a minute. Anyway, let's go to the video here, and we can watch it. Let's see. Let me find the right tab. Here we go. Okay, yeah, he's limping a little bit. The gentleman at the podium is Studebaker, who is a death penalty lawyer that was the second lawyer on the case. Let's see if we need to adjust the volume.
Thank you, Your Honor. We do have a resolution on these matters as follows. The waiver of preliminary hearing on this court's policy about written preliminary hearings or waivers is included in the plea agreement. On case ending in 0110, Mr. Brenner would plead guilty to count 1 murder as a second-degree felony. As part of the plea agreement on that case, count 2 would be dismissed. In case ending in 171, the state agreed to dismiss count 3, and we'll go over that plea in a second. The state agreed also to dismiss case ending in 128 in its entirety. Mr. Brenner, like we said, will plead guilty as to the amended charge. In case ending in 171, he would plead guilty to counts 1 and 2 as charged in the amended information that was filed on March of 2024. These cases were run by agreement consecutively, resulting in an aggregate prison sentence of 3 to 30 years. There's also an agreement that in the case ending, or that this would be a mandatory imprisonment situation. There were some issues and information related to the disclosure of Dylan Rounds' body. That has been complied with. I don't think there's a dispute about that on that situation, but it is part of the plea agreement. And I realized that there was a Rule 11 conference as part of this agreement to follow through on that. Mr. Brenner has read through the plea agreement multiple times with Mr. Nish, has had all his questions answered, and I believe, yes, Mr. Brenner has actually signed that on March 29th, 2024. On case ending in 171, Mr. Brenner would plead guilty to count 1, possession of a firearm by a restricted person as a second-degree felony, and count 2, the same type of offenses. The same plea agreement is outlined as part of that, the same obligations, and this court again has had a Rule 11 conference as part of this. I believe, based procedurally, knowing that Mr. Rounds' family, Dylan's family, has a right to participate in this. I believe they have also agreed to this plea agreement as part of a global resolution on this matter. With that, Your Honor, when the court's ruling, my client is prepared to enter the appropriate pleas and is prepared to sign, or has already signed the plea agreement, so he's prepared to actually submit them to the court right now.
I think there might have been just one, maybe I missed it, Mike, but I think that there was one provision that was missed, which is that the party stipulated defendant will not receive credit for any time served on any case, whether state or federal, other than time served in the 2 cases he's pleading to. But just to be clear, I believe that that's only about 17 days-ish. So
that is correct. What Mr. Wardle said is part of the plea agreement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brenner, as your attorney explained with Mr. Wardle's clarification, is that your agreement in this case?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Wardle, that is the state's agreement, is that right?
yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me talk to you, Mr. Brenner, about these 2 documents. They're entitled the same, 2 different cases. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Statement of defendant in support of plea and certificate of counsel. Did you read those documents?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about them?
No, sir.
Do you feel that you understand them?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that they contain the constitutional rights that you have that you are giving up by entering your guilty pleas?
Yes, sir.
Do you read and write and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
What grade did you complete last in school?
8th.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Are you receiving any mental health treatment at this time?
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's help and advice in this case, in these cases?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions or need any additional time before I ask you for your pleas?
No, sir.
Are you doing this because this is what you choose to do?
Yes, sir.
Is anyone forcing you to do this?
No, sir.
All right, from the state, please, each case a factual basis.
Your Honor, in case Andy.
Just briefly, that's what is called the colloquy, which you'll have given in various situations, like when the here where you've got a plea being taken, but like Darrell Brooks, when he wanted to represent himself in his six-time murder trial and who knows how many assault cases, he had to undergo this so that he understands what his rights are and that he is doing it knowingly, so that later on he can't come back and claim that, oh, I didn't understand what was being said or anything like that. So, it's a protection that to preserve any appeal. I mean, so to defend against appeals of that nature. So let's hear what Prosecutor Wardle has to say here.
being 23-11-00110. 19-year-old Dylan Rounds was reported as a missing person on May 31st, 2022. Sheriff's deputies, along with search and rescue crews, made efforts to locate Dylan, but were unsuccessful. During the search, deputies discovered a pair of boots belonging to Dylan nearby. One boot had a blood stain that DNA analysis confirmed to be Dylan's blood. Dylan's phone records were also obtained, which showed movements on the day of his disappearance on a remote property in Lucin, where defendant was living. Phone data showed that the last signal from Dylan's phone was at the Lucin pond, and a search of the pond led to the discovery of the phone. A digital forensic download of the phone was conducted and led to the discovery of a time-lapse video taken at the time of the victim's disappearance, showing defendant with blood stains on his arms and shirt as he is cleaning a gun. That was taken on the day when Dylan went missing. Dylan's remains were eventually recovered pursuant to the plea agreement in this case in the Lucin area, and forensic analysis revealed bullet holes to Dylan's skull, which was the result of defendant shooting him in the head. And then on case ending.
Your Honor, just for clarification of the record, the last couple sentences of that do not appear in the factual base I believe the court has in front of us. We were using the document prior to the defense would stipulate to those facts, but they don't appear on the document in front of the court.
Yeah,
All right.
That's true. Thank you.
And Mr. Ward, before you continue with the next case, Mr. Brenner, with your attorney's clarification as well, is that what happened in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll find that those facts do support a plea of guilty, also that you understand the nature and the elements of the offense and the relationship between the facts to the elements in this case. Mr. Wardle.
Case ending 22-11-00171. While interviewing potential witnesses regarding the missing person in this case, in the other case, deputies learned that a defendant had asked one of the witnesses to hold 3 black powder guns for him because he was a felon and he didn't want police taking them if they searched his property. The witness turned the 3 guns over to the deputies. A search of defendant's trailer led to the discovery of ammunition, powder, and caps that matched the caliber of the 3 guns. Defendant has numerous felony convictions, which includes at least 1 violent felony for malicious injury out of Maryland, which would be the equivalent of aggravated assault or felony discharge of a firearm in Utah. That made him a Category 1 restricted person.
Mr. Brenner, is that what happened in this case?
Yes.
All right, I'll find that those facts do support pleas of guilty, also that you understand the nature and the elements of the offenses and the relationship between the facts to the elements of the offenses. On each of these documents, there is a place for your signature, case ending in 110 and case ending in 171. Is that in fact your signature on the line where it says defendant?
Yes.
All right. The attorneys have signed these, both counsel, and I will sign them. I'm relying on them as part of the plea discussion that you and I are having. Case 22-11-00171, count 1. That is according to the amended information filed March 19th, correct, Mr. Wardle?
What's that? Sorry.
Count 1
Filed.
is amended information.
The amended information filed March 19th of this year, is that right?
Yes.
Count 1, purchase, transfer, possession, or use of a firearm by a restricted person as a second-degree felony. To that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Count 2, purchase, transfer, possession, or use of a firearm by a restricted person, a second-degree felony. To that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Case 23-11-00110. Mr. Wardle, do I have an amended information in this case?
No, I was just talking to Mr. Nish. I'll get that filed right after.
All right, Mr. Nish,
Yep.
proceeding without that on file. All right. Mr. Brenner, in that case, as to count 1 murder, a second-degree felony. To that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
I'll accept that those guilty pleas, I'll find they have been knowingly and voluntarily entered into. I'll dismiss any remaining counts that pursuit of the agreement of the parties. Likewise, I'll dismiss case 2111000129 as part of the agreement.
Okay, that case is the assault case, which I understand was Kevin Bibbins, where at least part of the assault consisted of hitting him with a lawn chair. I guess any weapon in a storm. So let's listen some more.
Mr. Brenner, you have the right to be sentenced in not less than 2 and no more than 45 days. I will have adult probation and parole prepare a pre-sentence report in each of these cases.
Judge, we waived the 45 before Your Honor came out. We were discussing dates. I believe that the 45 would fall on the holiday. And then the following week, I'm actually out of town. We're asking the court, is Your Honor wanting a special set this? There's going to be many victims, family members, I'm assuming, who would like to speak.
Okay, just one point here on the setting the sentencing date is that he is in federal custody and it requires 30 days notice to the federal the marshal's office in order to get him transported for each hearing, because he's in Weber County and this is in Box Elder County, which is probably maybe 25 miles away. I'm not sure if he's going to be transferred to state custody after sentencing. We'll find out more about that probably at the sentencing hearing. But okay, let's listen to some more.
We want to set it at the end of a regular law in motion.
Mr. Wardle, any input?
I think it would be, so here's the thing. If you want to put it on a regular law in motion day in the afternoon, I think it would have to be the only thing.
Correct.
So if you don't want to do that, then I think we would need to maybe special set it.
Okay. What date were you looking at then, Mr. Studebaker?
Well, it depends on Your Honor. Are we special setting or are we putting it at the end of a law in motion?
We can do that if there's a time.
If we could do July 1st.
At 2:30?
Sure. I know that they're getting some feedback right now from the family members, but I don't know how long it's going to take. So I was thinking, we spoke with your judicial assistant before court. She said right now that day is pretty light. I would propose we put it at the normal 1:30 and then just resolve the case and have sentencing once anything that's already on the 1:30 calendar is resolved.
All right, Mr. Wardle, 1:30.
That would work.
All right, let's do that. Let's set it for July 1st at 1:30 for sentencing. That'll be an in-person hearing, and so all matters will be handled in person.
Just real quick, I think, unless I misheard you, on the case that's being dismissed, I think you might have said the wrong number. It's 211100128. Just to make sure. Is that what you have?
If I misspoke, it is 211100128. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, if I misspoke, that is the case number that is dismissed per agreement. Mr. Brenner, you have the right to be sentenced within 45 days. If we go to July 1st, that is beyond 45 days. Are you willing to waive your time to be sentenced within 45 days?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Studebaker, Mr. Nish, you previously agreed to that. We'll set this then for July 1st at 1:30 for sentencing, and I will have adult probation and parole, as I said, prepare that pre-sentence report.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Sam, you may want to block out the rest of that.
Counsel, are there any other matters that need to be addressed today?
I don't believe so.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you on July 1st at 1:30.
Thanks, John.
Court will be in recess.
We're in recess. It's good to see you, Judge.
Okay, no, they didn't say where he was found. There are a couple of different theories going on. Mike King, who is very respected law enforcement person in Ogden, and which is just south of Brigham City in Box Elder County, and he has excellent contacts, is saying that it was, let me look at my map here, on Pilot Mountain, the south end, and just not JLR says that the same thing, and another person says he was buried along the fence on the grain property. I don't know which is true or if either is true. I would love to. So I'm planning on going out there on Memorial Day weekend to do some filming for an artistic project on Dylan. I wanted to try to have it, then, so the conditions would be most similar. I'm sure hoping they will release things. We're looking at possibly doing a FOIA request, and that would give us discussions, hopefully, of the confession and just where the body was found, if that's the case. So, but that may not be possible to get until after the case is resolved. So, I don't think he was buried on the family property. I sources are saying either the grain shed property or Pilot Mountain, and my money is on Pilot Mountain, but I'm hoping when I go out there that I'll be able to get a more definitive answer, and I plan to go out and take a look. Don't think they need to unless Candace speaks up. No trial, so there wasn't much to learn. Yes, but I think Candace won't be able to help but be outspoken in the sentencing hearing, and I think she's going to give him an earful. Hi, Matt. So, Candace, I think, is privy to the details, and so I think we will probably get some answers from Candace come July. And I will go up for that, and I expect Nate Eaton will probably be there for that one. And so I'm going to make sure that I leave earlier, because today I left 90 minutes before the hearing was to start, and there was a traffic jam because of it looked like it was a single car accident with a pickup truck, might have rolled, caught on fire, blocked off 2 lanes, and I don't want to take any chance of missing it. So I will leave earlier to get up there, so there's no chance of any issues in getting there. So let's take a look at, there is a short clip from Candace's reaction afterwards. Let's see.
Was good. We wanted it said in a different way. It's really disappointing that our court systems did not make him say guilty to murdering Dylan Rounds. That is kind of just to a person, but we still got it. For 3 to 30 years now, yes, more than likely Brenner will die in prison, but it shouldn't even be an option. It should be a 25 to life. It should be an aggravated murder. We should never been forced. And we weren't forced. We were part of it, but the justice system forced us into this type of plea. And only 1 to 15 is for murdering Dylan. The rest is gun charges. So constituents of Utah, think about it and who you vote for, because these laws are made by our legislation, and if you want them changed, this could be your kid, and it could be a man serving more time for having the guns than for murdering your child with them. The laws need to change. It's good to finally, it'll be able to completely put it to rest. I mean, we'll always fight through Dylan's Legacy and Missing American Network that we've teamed up with, but it doesn't necessarily put it to rest. But this court part of it and the anxiety of the consistently waiting, what's going to happen, when's it going to happen, what if it doesn't happen, that part we can finally lay to rest.
Okay, and that woman with Candace there, I was sitting directly behind her. Let's see. Not for sale that cheap. but I do appreciate it because the cost of StreamYard and so forth does cost. So okay, let's discuss the penalty. She said that it was 1 to 10 for the murder, but that's not, I don't think that's what it says. I think that it's, I looked up the statute for the gun charge. The gun charge is 1 to 15 years, and as I understand it, the murder is the 3 to 30 years, and the sentences are to be run consecutive. He is to receive 17 days credit for time served, and not all of the time that he was in custody and in federal custody he gets credit for. So maybe he gets credit for time when he had days where he had hearings. I'm not sure. But so he could theoretically be doing 4 to 45 years. And the judge will probably set a minimum period before the first parole hearing could be. And he could say 20 years before a parole hearing. The sentence, as I understand it, was 3 to 30 for the murder and 1 to 15 for the guns charge. So, yes, sentencing on July 1st, we will hear from the family, and I expect Candace is going to have an earful. Justin, you don't hear much from, but yes, consecutive sentences. And so, you know, the actual length of the sentence is up to the parole board, but the period before the first parole hearing is up to the judge. So we had a case which was 20 years ago where I went out on the search for Lori Hacking, who turned out she was murdered by her husband. And at that time, the penalty for first-degree murder was 5 to life. And it was an insult to think that somebody could murder somebody and be out in 5 years. And so they've since changed the statute so that it's a longer period for first-degree murder. There's another part of that I'll bring up, which has to do with the plea bargain, because he had to give up the location of the body as a part of the plea bargain. If he hadn't given up the location of the body, Utah has a statute where if you've got a no-body case and the person is up for parole and they don't help with finding the person or making a good faith effort to finding the person, they can spend another 5 years in jail or in prison for not helping give up the body. So he could have technically done more time for not giving up the body than he could have for the murder. So that's just one interesting point. There wasn't an opportunity. I was fourth row back because the first row was legal people. The second and third row were family, and fourth and fifth row were for visitors. So, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying to see if I can't communicate at some point with Brenner after this is concluded. Yes, 3 to 30 on the second degree murder. So let's see. Larry was there. The grandparents were there. Both grandparents were there. They looked fine to me. I spoke with them at before the last hearing, and I just got the sense that they're a lot more peace knowing that Dylan has been found and can be laid to rest properly. So they were very happy. I didn't see anybody young enough to be his siblings. So, yeah, well, I'm hoping that we'll have more information in the future, working with it with a couple of people. I know one who he never appears on any channel, doesn't comment or anything, and so we're hoping to develop some more information on the case. We've got some promising contacts that we're working on. So, I thought Justin was sitting next to Candace, unless that's her. I don't think that was her hubby. Anyway, so I think that's basically it, but I do want to have another live after I go out there for Memorial Day weekend. I heard that she got married. So I want to get some better footage than my last trips out there. So yeah, I think he was. Let's see. So anyway, I'll have some more material coming up in a couple of weeks. And until then, I guess that's it for tonight. And it's good to have it over. We still have a lot of questions. Hopefully we'll get some more answers. So until later, we'll see you. Bye-bye.